machine just called me an asshole.
Hello and welcome back to more Films Under Constant Critique, where we take a look at films, some good, some bad, and some downright awful. I'm Bongo Baikov, joined by our host Maverick, Dren, Zaria. This week, we are taking a look at the Stephen King film, Maximum Overdrive.
I'm missing Doctor Who for this. It'll be on in like 9 minutes. But anyway,
Oh, is like the new special thing coming out?
no, it's just they've been showing old Doctor Who episodes on TV recently, and I was watching a few. But anyway, so Maximum Overdrive was released on July 25th, 1986. It cost $9 million and only made $7.4 million worldwide.
Ooh, that's not good.
Nope. This was written and directed by Stephen King. Which... And this is only directorial effort, I should point out.
Yes, and probably for a good reason.
Although he does have a few screenplay credits, because he did Creepshow.
He also apparently wrote an episode of The X-Files.
Oh, really? Which one?
Chinga. It was... I just saw it. Season 5, episode 10.
Okay, I haven't seen that one then. I think I only saw like the first 2 seasons of it. So yeah, this movie was based on his short story Trucks, which was also adapted into a 1997 TV movie.
Really?
And from what I remember of the short story, it's basically just the trucks come to life and surround the gas station, so it's like the middle and end of the movie. Like that's like an extension of the short story, but anyway, and I don't think they ever explain why trucks come to life in the story.
Do they explain it in the TV movie?
I don't remember. But yeah, so the movie, it was written and directed by Stephen King, based on a short story by Stephen King, so this is the movie that is the most Stephen King, apparently.
It's also at the height of his cocaine binge.
And when he had his drinking problems, too. But yeah, he likes to complain about the other adaptations of his works, but this is one of the few where he just can't escape the blame.
So what was he writing around this time?
Oh, 1986. That would have been...
And open up the bibliography.
I think It came out in 1986.
Yep, and then the next year was Misery and the Tommyknockers.
Interesting. So yeah, he really was like...
busy for those few years.
One of my favorite things about this movie, though, is the trailer for it, which has...
The trailer is so weird.
Because one of the trailers, Stephen King himself appears in it, and the Halloween 3 music is playing.
Wait. Hold on, I need to... You're right, that is the Halloween 3 music. What?
Yeah, and he's basically just talking about how he wanted Stephen King done right, so he directed the movie himself. And his eyes look so weird, too, like...
Yeah.
I guess those are Coke eyes, I don't know. And he, says, I'm gonna scare the hell out of you. It's just... It's so funny and just weird. Okay, so overall thoughts. I don't know if you want to start here.
Yeah, sure. I'll start. I was made aware of this movie a long time ago because I watched the Nostalgia Critic episode on it.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
And so I had known kind of what the movie was about, but I hadn't actually watched it until I think 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago. Me and my family went to a football game. It was my dad, my brother, and I. We went to like a college football game. My brother was like sick out of his mind when we came back, and so we just sat there and watched Maximum Overdrive.
What? That's
And
weird.
it's, for the most part, I like my opinions on the movie actually haven't changed very much from watching it. It's got a weird premise. The pacing is off. It's not what I would call a good movie, but it does have some fun moments throughout.
So, if you know anything about me, I've read a lot of Stephen King books. Hell, one of my bookshelves in my house consists entirely of Stephen King books, if that tells you anything. So the fact he directed a movie, I mean, just, that's fascinating to me. Now, is this the kind of movie I would have expected him to direct? Not really. Is this the kind of movie I would have expected him to direct while drunk or on cocaine? Yeah,
Maybe.
probably. So, I hadn't seen this movie since high school, and I remember liking the first 20 minutes of it, and the last 20 minutes of it. And that's about how I still feel about it. Like, I think the beginning is fun because of how insane it is, but then it just slows down. Yeah. In like the middle of it.
Actually, I want to see if you agree with me on this. The beginning of the movie was giving me some The Happening flashbacks.
Yes. I was noticing a bit of overlap with The Happening, especially the part where the guy gets killed by the lawnmower in The Happening. That feels like something that'd be in...
Yeah.
I think I even mentioned that while we were doing the Happening podcast, that feels like something from Maximum Overdrive. It kind of is like that movie where I'm not sure if it was supposed to be funny or not. So.
Yeah.
It's like if The Happening was Big Rigs, I guess. Kind of what parts of this movie feel like.
Yeah.
Although not as fun as that combination, I would say. The main characters I just thought they were either really boring or really annoying. And too much of the screen time is just them at this gas station arguing, and it just got grating after a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of my problem with The Mist, too, the movie The Mist, now that I think about it, because a lot of it is it's just these really annoying characters just trapped and arguing with each other. But whenever the movie is just machines going ape shit,
that's when it gets fun.
There's enjoyment to get out of it, and the soundtrack is great.
Yes. The soundtrack, by the way, was done by none other than AC/DC.
Yes, it's all AC/DC songs, including one song written for the movie, Who Made Who. And it actually has some of my favorite AC/DC songs, too, you know.
Yeah, it's got Hell's Bells. I remember that one pretty well.
The use of Hell's Bells in this movie is great. Like, that scene's great. Or, Shook Me Like a Prayer, I think is in the... Or, sorry. You Shook Me All Night Long.
Yeah.
Shook Me Like a Prayer. Like, I think the only other movies that are like that are... where it's just all AC/DC songs are like the Iron Man movies. Although I don't think they wrote any original songs for those.
No.
So. That being said, I could see why Stephen King didn't direct anything else. So. Just stick to writing novels, man. Hey, we got Who Made Who out of this, so it's not too bad of a deal. The cast. There's a few interesting names here. We got Emilio Estevev,
Yep.
which he's best known for being in The Breakfast Club, the Mighty Ducks movies,
And also being Martin Sheen's son.
and Charlie Sheen's brother, yes.
Yep. It's amazing how much he actually kind of looks like Martin Sheen in this movie.
He really does, yeah. And apparently King originally wanted Bruce Springsteen for the role. He does kind of feel like a Bruce Springsteen type now that I think about it. Just like, you know, just the way he dresses and also just trucks. I mean, I'm surprised Born to Run doesn't play in this movie.
Hmm.
We also got Pat Hingle, which you might recognize him from some other movies we've done on the podcast. Because he was Commissioner Gordon from the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman movies.
Oh! Huh.
Right, he doesn't do much in those, but, I mean...
Yeah, but, huh. Oh, here's something interesting. Another thing interesting about Pat Hingle. He was in the 1965 Fugitive TV show.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. He was also in the Andy Griffith Show and in the Mission Impossible show.
Okay.
Guy's just showing up everywhere.
Emilio Estevev was in the first Mission Impossible movie, so there's also that connection.
Huh.
We also got Yeardley Smith, which she's best known for playing Lisa Simpson on The Simpsons. Moving on. This movie also has a cameo by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, too.
Yeah, he's the first speaking role in the movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And this is probably my favorite Stephen King cameo, too. It's so funny.
Honey, the machine called me an asshole.
We'll get to that. Giancarlo Esposito is in this. Which most people, they know him as...
Wait.
Gus
What?
Fring from Breaking Bad.
I did not recognize him.
And he's also Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian.
Yeah. I did not recognize him in this movie. Hold on a second. I need to see who he is.
He's super young in this. I think he's the guy that gets killed by the arcade machines.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he's like barely recognized. AC/DC did the soundtrack. We've established that. There's also another movie we've done that was produced by Dino De Laurentiis.
He's showing up quite a bit, or that company's showing up quite a bit.
Yeah. What do you want? I guess Leonard Maltin gave it.
He had to have given it a bomb. Like, there's no other thing he could have given it.
He did. He gave it a bomb. He said, novelist King, making his directorial debut, said he set out to make a junk movie, nothing more, but he made it stupid and boring. I'd like to point out he makes no mention of the AC/DC soundtrack in his review.
Interesting.
Okay, so the main plot of this movie is machines start to go haywire and cause chaos, because, hey, it happens sometimes.
The actual answer is very stupid, but...
Yeah, especially, like, most of them are vehicles, they're just driving themselves.
Yeah.
And most of the movie is set at a gas station that gets surrounded by trucks. The opening text says a comet passed by. And, like, they show the Earth, and it's, like, there's this, like, green mist or something. Maybe it's the mist from The Mist. I don't know. But then the ending text suggest it was a UFO that was destroyed by a Russian weather satellite.
Yeah, not just any weather satellite, but a Soviet satellite equipped with a Class 4 nuclear missile and a laser cannon.
Can you tell this was made in the 80s? Maybe Dino De Laurentiis forced King to add that in there.
Add an explanation as to what happened.
And it has to be the Soviets, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so pros. Well, I guess it doesn't quite matter as much with this one. One thing that's funny is the last movie that we did, it ended with Jason Statham, like, giving the middle finger.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this movie starts off, because you see the...
the little electronic sign above the door. It's just given, like, you know, like the time, the weather, and then it just says, fuck you, at the top.
And this is where we get my favorite Stephen King cameo ever. He's at an ATM machine, I think? Is that what that thing was?
Yeah, it was like an ATM.
And he's just, like, trying to use it. And then, like, the text on the screen, like, it calls him an asshole.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
He's, like, doing this weird accent, like... I think it's supposed to be like a southern accent.
Yeah, because the movie's supposed to take place, I think, in, like, North Carolina.
That's not how Stephen King talks, I can guarantee that.
No.
He doesn't talk like that in the trailer. I also love that he's the first character in the movie that we see.
I know.
And he gets the first lines, and that's what our first line is. It's great. I like that the truck has a green goblin hood ornament.
And it's, like, just gigantic as well, so it's just this truck has a face, basically.
It's so funny, yeah. It's supposed to be like a toy truck.
Yeah.
Like, it's like for a toy company called Happy Toys, spelled with a Z. There's like a Jack-in-the-Box in there with a goblin. It's so weird.
And I like how at first when the different, like, electronics or machines start going haywire, it's, like, kind of small at first. So, like, you get the drawbridge raising, which was kind of a fun scene. You get the knife that just goes off. You get the diesel pump that goes off. And then it just shifts into, like, overdrive with how ridiculous it gets afterwards.
Well, that's what the title of the movie is, Maximum Overdrive. And you also have the, that, like, steamroller... It, like, rolls over a kid. Like,
well, okay, not just that. There's like a baseball game going on, and, like, the dad of one of the kids goes to buy him all sodas, and he gets shot to death by the vending machine.
yeah, the soda cans. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And then this kid's trying to, like, run away from it all on his bike, but he gets, like, his legs caught in it and falls over. And just gets run over by a steamroller.
This was another scene where it's just like, was this trying to be a comedy or was it trying to be scary? Because it's weird.
Yeah.
Because the part with the vending machine feels kind of slapsticky.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it trying to go for like an Evil Dead 2 tone or something? At some points, the music kind of sounds like the music from Psycho.
A little bit. Like, they make that one noise where it's like that cha, cha, cha.
Yeah, the violin screeching, yeah.
Yeah.
One character says, "Eat my shorts." They got the wrong Simpson to be in this movie in that case. Also, one thing that's weird is that the trucks watch people with rear view mirrors. They like turn the mirrors
Yeah.
so that they can see. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
There's a lot that doesn't make sense. You can't, like, the newlywed couple, why is their car fine?
I don't know.
Because they were able to drive in without any problems.
That's so strange, yeah, because all the other vehicles are going crazy. Even an ice cream truck is like driving around.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that the music that the ice cream truck is playing is King of the Road. It's an instrumental version of King of the Road.
That's pretty good.
We also see like the aftermath of some of these kills, one of which is a dog that was killed by a toy car.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it like just drove into the dog's mouth and like what? And also it keeps cutting back to that little league kid every now and then. I was kind of confused why they were doing that, but then it turns out he's Emilio Estevez's younger brother.
Yeah, which that's not really ever touched upon at all, and he keeps it's strange because it feels like a very last minute decision.
Honestly, though, he was one of the more interesting characters in this. Like, whenever it cut back to him, I was like,
because he wasn't just the same 2D like Stephen King cookie cutter character. Because there are so many characters in this that are just like stereotypical Stephen King characters, like the corrupt Bible salesman.
yeah, I remember that, yeah. And also, that kid didn't have any lines until like an hour into the movie, and I was thinking maybe that's why he's not as annoying.
He just doesn't have a chance to be.
There's a title drop at one point. It was about 46 minutes in, where what's her name said all the machines went into maximum overdrive.
Maximum overdrive.
Something stupid like that. There's also a plane flying while Ride of the Valkyries plays, which the Apocalypse Now reference, I guess. You got the wrong member of the Sheen family to be in this, in that case.
The dialogue in this movie ranges from strange to sometimes funny.
It's pretty bad, I think. Like, it's just... Like, Stephen King, he's a good novelist, he's not a good screenwriter.
No.
Like...
I do like the line, if you don't get your hand off my leg, you're going to be wiping your ass with a hook next time you take a dump.
I remember that. I was like, what does that even mean? What is that supposed to mean?
I know, it's like her threatening her that she's gonna like cut off his hand if he doesn't stop touching her, basically.
Yes, but that's such a weird way to say it. Or that part, there was that part with that one woman's like screaming at the trucks, "We made you."
We made you!
Christ, that was so irritating. Again, though, the soundtrack's really good. Let's see, what... I'm trying to remember. We got Hell's Bells is in this. For Those About to Rock, that's in this. All AC/DC songs, again, like we mentioned earlier. Who Made Who, that's the big one there. Those written for the movie. What other ones am I leaving out?
I think those were the
Shook Me
ones.
Like a
I
Prayer.
know they...
You Shook Me All Night Long. There were also a lot of instrumental ones, too.
Yeah, and sometimes it would just be like just like a snippet of a song, like it'd play for like 30 seconds.
It's just so funny to me whenever they get like just one band to do the entire soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know, like what happened with Flash Gordon and Highlander, where Queen does the entire soundtrack, or Toto did the Dune soundtrack, or like what are some other ones? I'm trying to think. Like,
I'm guessing concert movies don't count.
No, that doesn't count. Does Pink Floyd The Wall count?
That's basically a concert movie, if we're being honest.
Or The Graduate. There we go. That was Simon and Garfunkel. They did.
Oh, that's right.
Maximum Overdrive. Oh yeah, Tron Legacy. That was all Daft Punk. But yeah, those were some other.
I've never seen Tron or Tron Legacy, but that actually is a pretty good fit, I think.
Maybe we should do that for the podcast at some point. I don't know.
That'd be a good one.
Those are hard movies to talk about, though. Like,
is that a lot of style and not a lot of substance?
Yeah, kind of. Like the first Tron movie, I remember watching it and just being like, I do like this, but I actually don't quite know what's going on. Like, Hell's Bells and Who Made Who are like two of my favorite AC/DC songs, so hearing that in this movie, I'm like, oh, nice. I also like whenever they use rocket launchers on trucks in this movie.
It happens more than once.
I like when shit blows up. What can I say? Like, basically just whenever, like, either trucks are destroying things or people are destroying trucks, it's kind of fun to watch, you know? Like, there's one part where, like, a bulldozer destroys the gas station towards the end. Or the trucks are using... One of the trucks is, like, a machine gun.
It's just mowing people down.
Yeah.
Including the "We Made You" lady.
Yeah, I was, like, hoping she would shut up, and then that happens. I'm like, well, I didn't quite mean it like that, but okay. I mean, if you want to see trucks wrecking things, this movie has a lot of that during the climax. That was basically, you know, again, like I said, I like the first 20 minutes of this movie and the last 20 minutes of this movie because they're fucking crazy. Like,
the end does get really weird though, because they find out that what the trucks want is to be fueled up.
Well, yeah, they need fuel.
It's so weird though, because then you just get a montage of them like fueling the trucks up.
Not just a montage of them fueling the trucks up, a montage of them fueling the trucks up while Hell's Bells plays.
It's a weird movie.
And You Shook Me All Night Long plays during the credits, too, which is interesting. You hear Who Made Who twice in this movie, at the beginning and then at the end, but yeah. We can get into cons, which, I mean...
It's outside of like the intro and the ending, it is a pretty boring movie.
The middle section of it, and it's also really annoying too, like, just because it's just a bunch of idiots in a gas station yelling at each other, and I'm just like, oh my god, please shut up.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any positives to say about the characters here. They're bad. No. They're really bad.
They range from, like, bland to outright unlikable.
And annoying, yeah.
Yeah, like, that married couple, like the newlywed couple.
Yes, yeah, they're really
They feel very unnecessary and are very annoying.
Especially Lisa Simpson. She was just grating. Like, just... Yeah. She's one of the most irritating characters we've had on the podcast, I think. Maybe the most irritating, actually, now that I think about it. Certainly the top three. Just so much of they're just shouting and screaming at each other, and like all these characters, they just hate each other, but we don't really get any interesting reasons for why they don't like each other.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we just need them to not get along. Forced trauma, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it could be an interesting concept, you know, because movies where a small group of characters are, like, trapped in an area getting, like, stalked, and they don't get along. Okay, there's some interesting...
It could be done well.
The Thing, you know, John
But you have
Carpenter's
to...
The Thing.
Yeah.
That's a great example. But it doesn't work here. It just doesn't work.
No. They're not interesting enough characters for that to work.
I guess he was too coked out to include character development. I don't know. The dialogue, again, pretty bad. And the tone is weird too.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if it was trying to be a comedy, a horror movie, or an
Because, like, a lot of the
movie.
stuff in the intro feels very comedic. Like, the guy getting killed by a vending machine, like, that had to be done because it was funny, right? There's no way that they put that in there trying to be serious.
Again, it's sort of like The Happening. Like, was it supposed to be... I feel like this one's a little bit more self-aware than The Happening, though.
Yeah.
But, like, again, it's still, like... The thing is, Stephen King had his name attached to it, so people thought it was a horror movie. But instead,
it was not.
You get this weird tone where some of it's a comedy, some of it's a horror movie, and then some of it is an action movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work as any of them, actually.
No.
Especially as a horror movie. Which is like, wow, like Stephen King made this and he couldn't make a good horror movie? How is that possible? He said in the trailer, I'm gonna scare the hell out of you, but...
He did not scare the hell out of me.
No, he didn't. And again, the pacing in this is just... That middle section of it was so boring, like...
Yeah. Because, like, they introduced this, like, subplot at the beginning where Emilio Estevez's boss doesn't like him, and he's trying to get him to clock out earlier than he should, but still work overtime and not get paid. It's weird. It doesn't add a whole lot except telling you that his boss is an asshole.
Like, what was anybody's motivation in this, really?
To survive the trucks. And that's about it.
Okay, fascinating. I love that kind of character development. They have to survive the trucks. Well, no shit. Is there anybody here who isn't trying to?
Other than that, their lives were... Oh, no, the one lady wanted to go to Florida. That was her character motivation.
Again, fascinating. Want to go to Florida? Well, a lot of people do. Well, not right now, but, like, I mean, it's just like... Oh, that'd be interesting if this was set in Florida.
Yeah. You could have the soundtrack done by Will Smith.
Will Smith, Jesus.
Have Miami play like 3 times throughout the movie.
You just include a bunch of songs about Miami. Or that Billy Joel song, about Miami. Or that Randy Newman song, Miami. I don't know. You can make, like, you can do all kinds of stuff with that. You can make Miami Vice references, or Hawaii 5-0 or no, that's Hawaii, never mind. Fuck it. Is there even anything else to really say, actually? Because I ran out of notes.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole... the poster's kind of weird. We could talk about how weird that poster is.
Which poster are you talking about?
The one that has Stephen King at the top with, like, the puppet strings.
That is weird, yeah. Oh, that'd make this a much more interesting movie if it was, like, the whole time, like, Stephen King was, like, controlling the trucks and stuff. Like, that's when his cameo comes in.
Just be a lot more meta with it.
Or if Stephen King was like a Rod Serling type host and he's just like narrating and stuff. Stephen King's masterpiece of terror, directed by the master himself. Did Stephen King write that tagline?
I hope so. Well, there's the other tagline, which was pretty bad.
I think Who Made Who was one of the taglines.
I like Maximum Terror, Maximum King.
Oh, wow. There was one.
Imagine your worst nightmare. Machines take over the world.
Wait, is this Terminator 2?
Apparently.
Shit, there was another one that was really bad, but I'm trying to... Oh, yeah, here it is. Evil's Wheels. Kind of weird that most of the posters don't have the goblin-faced truck on it. Wouldn't that be like the big selling point of the movie?
Since he's like the villain, question mark?
I guess.
I don't know if this is an actual poster, but it's like the most generic looking thing I've ever seen in my life.
It'd be funny if like Willem Dafoe voiced the
voiced the truck.
Voiced the truck. Yeah, obviously this is way before the Spider-Man movies, but it'd be funny.
So I'd say
I think this movie needed more personality, is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... There's surprisingly little energy to it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of slow and meandering during parts of it, and again, you can see why Stephen King didn't direct much after that.
Yeah. I think out of all the movies about out of all the Stephen King adaptations about cars coming to life, this one's pretty far down there.
It's not as bad as the Trucks TV movie, though. It's at least a little more entertaining than that. But it's not as good as Christine.
No.
I'm trying to remember what other ones there were that had, like, vehicles coming to life. But that happens a lot. Like, there's a surprising number of Stephen King books and stuff where that happens.
I found an article why Stephen King has so many horror movies about cars.
I think it's just he just likes cars. Like, one of his favorite bands is Bachman Turner Overdrive. Which I'm surprised they didn't do the soundtrack. Yeah, so there's Christine. Christine's the most obvious one. And also, he had like a car accident and
Oh yeah, he did. That's right.
I don't know if you remember that. I don't think he was in a car though. Like, but there was like a guy that almost hit him. I think he did get hit, but he survived.
Yeah.
I guess he's just, I don't know, maybe he's just a car enthusiast.
That makes sense.
He's a car enthusiast that loves AC/DC. I think that's the only reason this movie exists, is because he wanted to exploit that. And you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah. It's as good a reason as any to make a movie.
If I could get a band like AC/DC to do the soundtrack for my movie, I would do that. Especially if I had name recognition like Stephen King has. Do you have anything else to really add?
I really don't have anything else.
I will say though, if we are going to do another Stephen King movie on the podcast, I think Creepshow, that'd be a good one for a future podcast.
Or Lawnmower Man.
That's not a Stephen King movie.
What are you talking about?
They took the title of one of his stories and then changed everything else. Because, like, it has nothing to do with that original story. Like, he even sued them over it, but anyway. So, overall thoughts. It's a bad movie. I mean...
Yeah. It's got some entertaining bits, mostly at the beginning and end, but it's just not well paced. Characters aren't very interesting, but it does have a great soundtrack.
I will say, watch the first 20 minutes and then watch, like, the last 20 minutes, and you'll be good. And just listen to a bunch of AC/DC.
Basically.
Because, I mean, parts of it are funny, and then that middle section, it's just so dull. It doesn't do anything to help the movie. At the end of the day, though, I can't hate a movie with an AC/DC soundtrack and a truck with a goblin face on it. So. I will also say this, I enjoy it more than the movie we did last Halloween season, which was the Evil Dead remake.
That's fair.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll do better horror movies this month than this, you know, like, because this is barely even a horror movie for one thing. I mean, yeah, Stephen King made it, but, like, the tone is like, what the fuck are you trying to do here? Are you trying to be funny? Are you trying to be scary? Are you trying to have it be an action movie? Like, what is this, dude? And I did enjoy it more than the last movie we did on the podcast, which you remember that.
It was definitely better than Crank 2.
Yeah. Okay,
I think until then we could just roll the Andy Griffith.
Wow, that was a really short podcast.
Good night, you stupid idiot. Good night, you miserable slob.